Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 21 BP, Business Connections in the Modern World. And to welcome us all for today's opening of the two-day business conference, may we call in our 2021 local organization president and the municipal mayor of Jose Abad Santos, Davao Occidental. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Attorney Jason John Joyce for his welcome message.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon
Hello.
to the heads of the following organizations: JCI Harbor, JCI Marina Singapore, Asia Pacific College, and all of the LO presidents who are our co-host chapters for this afternoon. Also, I would like to give my salutations to all our esteemed speakers for this afternoon who are experts in their own fields. I would also like to welcome the students from the Asia Pacific College and assuring everyone that this will be an afternoon of learning from the real experts. We will be talking about real life strategies that would really help us become financially literate and financially successful. So once again, magandang hapon, good afternoon to everyone, and let us all learn and have fun in our 21 BC activity this afternoon. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mayor Jason Joyce, for that welcome message. And without further ado, we are going to welcome also. Let's listen to a short message, an inspirational message from the local organization president of JCI Harbor in Hong Kong.
Hello, good afternoon, Chapter President Jason, President for co-hosting chapter, distinguished guest speaker, fellow members and students. Good afternoon. This is President Peggy from JCI Harbor, Hong Kong. We are very pleased to receive President Alfred's invitation to join this marvelous sharing to 21 BC Business Connection in Modern World this afternoon. As I know, the two-day Business Connection organized by JCI Davao Gulf has been joined with 14 local chapters and others partnership to create a huge network of powerful sharing. It's a valuable opportunity that we can make use of the technology to make this happen from different countries here. So during the COVID-19 epidemic situation, different business industries are affected by the lockdown, economic scale and social distancing. We believe that we have to cope with the difficulties and an unexpected situation together to adapt this new normal. The first thing, we must have a positive mindset and also it's a valuable opportunity that we can learn from others' successful story today and understand the new marketing trend from the world-class speaker and businessman. We hope you guys can enjoy the sharing this afternoon and get some new insight for your business and your homework. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, LP Peggy, for that inspiring message. Okay, so today we are very much honored that we are able to have esteemed guests who are going to give us really insightful and really great opportunities to learn. So without further ado, I'm going to call on past president of JCI Makati to introduce to us our first speaker for today. Let's give it up for International IG past president Paolo Lorena. Sige, Pao.
My signal is not okay. Are the honors of my very good friend, my batchmate from way back 2000. He's a trainer and my fellow batchmate as president 2009. My signal is not okay, dear friends, but I would like to give some honors to the moderator. Art, honors my signal.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, our first speaker for this afternoon, a past president, also of JCI, Greater Davao, um, and definitely someone who has achieved in the field of business with his topic, finding a niche market, how to build and sustain a business. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mr. Ted Espinosa, Chief Executive Officer of Shock and Awe Industrial Corporation.
Okay, a pleasant good afternoon to all fellow JCI local organization president and JCI Art and my batch JCI POW for having me. Now, it's 1:30 and we have 89 participants as of now. Let me breeze through it. My topic for today is how to find a niche. You can pronounce it niche, you can pronounce it niche. The dictionary will not matter and will not tell you that's wrong. It's niche, niche, whatever. How to find a niche and build on it and sustain a business. Okay? Now, everybody wants to have a business for financial growth. That is what I am good at. I'm 51 years old, and let me tell you my story, my failure, and why I am here to share to you what I've learned. I want all of you to be prosperous. I want all of you to be successful. Why? People are asking me, Ted, why are you sharing all these things, secrets? Why are you happy just teaching people? Very simple. If everybody is prosperous, if everybody is rich, financially stable, then we will be living in a different world, a world where every problems go away and we can enjoy life. Okay? How to find a niche, build on it, and sustain the business. Let me tell you, since high school, I was in business. I came from a poor family. My mother was an OFW. She was a nurse. My father abandoned us. So it is really hard for you to live with 4 siblings and survive. So I made it a point to really have a financial secured future. So I started doing business a lot. I've been into restaurant business. I've been into bakery business. I sold fish. I made so many things, and all that failed. I've been into a lot, maybe 30 to 40 startups. All that failed. I went bankrupt so many times. I even pawned our TV set just to gain capital. All that failed. But in 2010, when I was about 37 years old, I stumbled upon a niche. That is why what I will be sharing to you is the secret of finding a niche, building on it, and make sure that it will sustain you. By the way, there are students. I learned that there are students watching also. Welcome. I would like to target this from those participants from 20 to perhaps 30 years old, because you will have this receptive mind yet. Okay. Now, 2010, that's what, 10 years ago, I received a call, a meeting from a friend. He was into a pharmaceutical business. They need potash alum for deodorant. Okay? Now, what is potash alum? We call it tawas here in our local dialect. They had a hard time looking for that supply, and I was curious. I said, how many sacks do you want? how many case do you want? And my friend told me I need 2 container vans of that. When I heard that they need 2 container vans and is willing to pay for it, that sent the heavens singing and opened the gates of opportunity for me. I have no idea what tawas is. I don't have any idea what potash alum is. But okay. Are we okay with the signal?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear you
because
then.
because I saw the mute. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
I
yeah,
just want to request everyone to please put yourselves on mute so as not to disrupt the speaker. Thank you.
that's right. That's right. I heard some commotion way back. Well, anyway, so that was potash alum, tawas. And I said to my friend, okay, let me get that. I did my research. And you know what? After 2 to 3 months, I was able to import that item that that he wants. And I tell you guys, way back 2010, I earned $500,000 by supplying that hard to find material. All those years that I was doing petty business, in just one instance, I was able to earn that much. And so I said to myself, this must be what a niche market is. So fellow JCI local students, let me share to you the secret. Now, it did not stop there. 2010, the next item that I imported was the harvesting pole for the palm oil business. There was this friend of mine, they are in the hardware business, and he was looking for a harvesting pole with certain qualities, that it should be strong, it should be light, and nobody can supply it. So he came to me, luckily, and we began discussing things. And you know what? Fast forward 2021, after 10 years, I was able to import for him 3 container vans almost every 3 years, and that earned us more. Okay, now what am I getting at? When you start thinking, when you start planning to go into business, always find a profitable niche. This is very important. Remember, I told you years before, I would go into any business that Tom, Dick, and Harry can goes into, like the food business, like the laundry business, and everything failed because of competition, right? Now, what if you try to look for items or to look for client who is looking for items and supply it? You solve a very crucial problem and you spend less on marketing. Okay? Go around. If you're asking yourself what business to go into, don't start first. Go around and ask people. Ask your local government offices. Ask the government. Ask private individuals, factories. Ask them. I know they need so many things that only a few people can supply, and that will be your niche market. All right? Try to digest what I said. Before you go into common business like food or convenience store, that is not a niche because everybody else is doing it. That is easy. Everybody can jump into it, and in a few weeks, you have another competitor. If you want to strike it big, if you want to earn big, go for hard to find items, establish a close relationship with your soon to be client, get all the details, and do your research and supply it. That is a niche market. Okay? Now, once you identified that niche market, these are the steps that you need to follow to sustain it. Okay. Rule number 1, know your niche. Okay? Once you know your niche, first identify your core competency. How good are you in that? How you understand your niche. Let's say, for example, you want to go into the car repair business. Now, ask yourself, what sets you apart from other auto repair shops? What offer can you give? What specialty can you provide? Fast service, latest technology? Friends, if you don't have a clear answer to that, better do not go into that. Okay? Now, I have supplied so many things. There will be competition, but if you can supply it fast, if you know your numbers, if you know your the technical specifications, business will go and will be awarded to you. Find your niche. First, by identifying what possible product you will offer. Second, what competitive edge that you have. If you don't have any edge that sets you apart from the competition, don't stop. Don't start. Better find your edge first. Okay? Because I tell you, you will be having a lot of problems. Third, identify your competitors. If you have a myriad of competitors, that is a myriad of problem as well. Okay? In my case, in my experience, guys, nobody or only a few was supplying potash alum. Nobody was supplying harvesting pole. So I went to Malaysia. I went to China. I went everywhere looking for that exact specification. I did my homework and it paid me well. Okay? Look for a niche. Who is supplying what? If you have so many competitors, like you go around sell rice, you go around selling commodities, it won't take you 2 kilometers and find another competitor. You will bludgeon yourself to death because of competition. Okay? So how to build and sustain a business? First, identify the niche, what particular market you are going into. If there are so many competitors, avoid it like a plague. If you don't have a competitive edge that sets you apart, stop and look for something else. Okay? So, number one, building and sustaining a business, know your niche. Now, moving forward, let's say you already have a niche. You already have a product. You already have a service. It can be a product, it can be a service. Okay? The next second thing that you have to be very sure and that you have to be very careful is to forge your team. Number one, find your niche. Second, forge your team. Okay. Here's the rule. Again, I am talking to startups. I'm not talking to 10, 20-year-old companies here. I am talking to startups who is willing to build a business. Start with a small team. Way back 2010, I started with 3 people. Okay? The 3 became 5, became 7, became 10. But let me tell you, reality-wise, I fired so many people as well because you need to forge your team. Friends, what is forge? What is forging? You can see it in your tools. Forge steel, forge alloy. The rims in our car is forged wheel alloy. Forging is a process. It's not ordinary steel that you use and everything goes well. No, it is a process. Okay? Quick example, the katana sword, the famous samurai sword of Japan, right? It takes more than 20 steps to create a katana sword. From different metal, fold it, pound it, heat it, burn it, pound it again, mold it. More than 20 steps is necessary to make sure that that sword will last and will not break and can even kill somebody. Okay? Forge your team, meaning you have identified your niche, you have all the permits, you're operating. The next thing that you have to put into your consideration and give much importance is to make a team that thinks like you, that has the emotional impact and strength and culture. You know why? Because your team will propel you to a bigger organization. Just like what we have in JCI. You have the core group, right? The core group decides and everyone else follow. If you cannot forge a good team, never expand. Never expand. You heard it so many times. The business folded the moment they expanded. They opened a branch. They opened the second branch, a third branch. And before the year end, everything closed. Why? Because there go so many management problems. You have pilferage. You have inconsistency, especially in the food business. You go from one branch to another branch, the food tastes different. Naturally, people will be expecting the same taste, but you cannot offer it in another branch because your team was not properly trained or do not have the right values and set of belief. Okay? You have the product. Next is to have to forge your team. I did not say create your team. I did not say hire your team. It's a given, of course. When you hire, you create a team. I am telling you, you have to forge it. You have to strengthen it. You have to weed out the weak ones, the unfaithful ones, the unloyal ones. Make sure that you are surrounded by people who have and will follow all your directives, all your memorandum. Otherwise, you will be in big trouble. Okay? Most of you are familiar with the movie Sparta 300, right? Here comes King Leonidas with only 300 people, but they beat as one. And here comes King Xerxes of Persia with thousands upon thousands of soldiers. I think the ratio is 1 Spartan against 50 Persian. But the Persian had a hard time defeating them. Why? 300 against 1,000? Why? Because King Leonidas of Sparta had a forged team. Look, fellow JCI members, all participants, I operate 6 corporations and 1 trading business. And I can go anywhere. I can have coffee anywhere and have that peace of mind that all that the organization is running well because it is handled by trusted individuals. Don't you ever make the mistake of expanding, making big business when you don't have a properly forged team. Otherwise, you'll see trouble coming in a few months. Okay? How to build and sustain a niche business. Number 1, find your niche. If you don't have that niche, if you haven't identified it yet, don't start the business. But if you already have that business and it's running well, create a team, but don't stop at creating a team. You have to make sure that they have the loyalty, the character, so you can expand. Okay? Forge your team. Third, how to build and sustain a startup business. Create a simple system. Of course, you will be having a system of monitoring things. But what I'm saying is create a simple business that almost everybody can and will understand. I tell you guys, fellow JCI, all participants, we have 104 participants now. In all the 6 corporations that I head, I don't have any paid subscription. Let me tell you that. 6 corporation, we only use free apps, Google Sheets, Google Notes, Google Keep, all that. Why? Very simple. Everybody has a Google account. Everybody has a Gmail account. And Mr. Google is making sure that the apps works well. They maintain the server. They make sure no problem occurs. Everybody reports expenses. Everybody reports payroll system, reflects it on Google Sheet. Create a simple system. You found a niche. You are doing your business. You have a team. Third, make sure that your team you will use a simple system. For me, we only use Google. No need to pay for apps. However, let me clear this out also. If you need a robust inventory system, that is a totally different story. Maybe you need SAP. Maybe you need Oracle. That's a totally different story. Okay? Let me share to you also. Free accounting apps. We only use Wave accounting. For each corporation, you can generate balance sheet, income statement, financial statement. It's there. It's free. Okay? Doing startup, of course, you're trying to lower expenses. Best way to do that is to use free apps. And we are doing it. And we are using it. Okay? Create a simple system. Okay? Now, all across your managers, your supervisors, make sure that there is a daily reminder. At exactly 7 a.m., Google Keep pops up in my desktop. Tell all your supervisors, managers to have Google Keep. And all things to be done will have a form of reminder for all of us. Okay? Payables, receivables, for follow-up, for delivery, issues, other concerns. Just use Google Keep. So even simple tasks like cleaning the aircon, washing whatever. Google Sheets, Google Keep, free apps. All across your managers. Okay? You have a niche. You forge your team. That team follows the same or uses the same platform. How sweet can that be? How practical can that be? I can open so many branch, and when they log in, we only use and see the same interface. So practical, so logical. Don't make it hard. Okay? Create a simple system. Now, third, create a simple system. Let me do this repetitively. You know what? The human mind works well when it's done on a repeat basis. I have a tendency to forget things. So I always train my mind to repeat myself so I won't get out of track. This particular webinar, finding a niche, making a startup business, and make sure that you can sustain it. Okay? You already had a niche. You already have a team that uses a simple system. And the fourth, always have this in mind. Cash flow is the lifeblood of business. Cash flow is the lifeblood of business. If you think going into business is for fun, stop it. You will not survive. If you think going to business is your passion, stop it. Passion alone will not create good business. 101 participants. Passion will not survive the business. Hobby will not survive a business. Cash flow will survive a business. If there is an opportunity given to me, you know what I do? I go to financials first. How much spread? How much margin do we have? If the margin is low, if I think profit is not enough, stop it and look for another project. Okay? Business is not charity. When you start a business, for it to be sustainable, get this right, guys. This is not charity. This is business. Business exists for profit. Charity exists for giving out. Those are two different things. They are polarized. When you start a business, I am here to make profit. I'm not here to give out to charity. Let's clear this out. Okay? We are here to make profit so that the business will be sustainable and create more jobs and or create employment, just like what we say in our JCI creed. Economic justice can best be won by free men through free enterprise. It did not say through charity. It did not say by giving out or dole out. It says through free enterprise. An enterprise is an entity that earns. If you are not earning, naturally you will close down. What can you offer if you are closed down? Let me explain further. Cash flow is the lifeblood. Make sure you compute your margins properly, considering labor cost, delivery cost, other incidental cost, advertising, marketing, and all that. If the profit is not enough, close that, look for other transactions. Okay? It is not a hobby. It is not a pastime. The mistakes of startup business are always, I've seen it so many times. Buy one, take one. How can you give free if your margin is so low? Buy one pair of shirt and one shirt goes to charity. And how much profit do you have left? Before you go on and give out those ridiculous marketing ploy, make sure something will remain in your treasury, in your cash register. Because when you are a startup, you can never run on empty. Okay? Oftentimes, startups have this problem. After a few sales, after a few thousands, or after a few, they would give it out. That's wrong. You have to sustain a business first. This is what I do as a default. 30% of our gross income, 30% of our net income is plowed back to building and equipment. You can make it 20%, you can make it 40%, but in my case, I make sure that out of the net profit, 30% of that goes to building, equipment, or land. When we started, by the way, 105 participants, please add me at Facebook, Ted D. Espinosa. You will see all my posts. I post daily through my CEO notes. Way back, when I started the Shock and Awe Industrial Corporation, we started in a garage. A garage, maybe around 30 square meters. Only in a garage. Now, after I think 7 years, we have a 2 hectares land with around 700 square meter factory. Why? Because all those sales, I made sure not to give it out as fast, but the 30% rule, I adhered to it. I kept cash, then bought land. And just 2 years ago, we are almost 80% finished with the factory. So as a startup, never make a mistake that you are there for charity. You are not for charity. You are there for profit, to sustain your business. 10, 20 years from now, if you think you're really that rich, if you think you really are that stable, then give out to charity. Classic example, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. When Bill Gates was starting Microsoft, maybe 5 or 10 years, they did not have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right? Now, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is giving out billions. Why? Because Microsoft is so big, so stable. Warren Buffett, he did not give out so many billions in charity 2 years way back when he was starting business. He stabilized it first. And now he is telling people, rich, super rich people, to give half their property or their assets to charity. Yes, they can do that because they're already stable. I am addressing to the 108 participants who is starting out the business. Never make a mistake of giving out fast. Your primary role is to sustain, survive the business that you are starting in. Then, after a few years, you are ready to give it out. Okay? Cash flow is the lifeblood of business. It's not your product. Cash flow is. Okay? Now, rule number 1 in building and sustaining a business, again, repetitive clause. Find a niche. Once you already found a niche, you will forge your team. If you don't have a team that is tested through fire like the Spartans, never, ever, ever expand. Don't expand when you don't have Spartan-like team that breathes like you, that thinks like you, that has the passion like you. Otherwise, you will be in trouble. Okay? Forge your team. That team, a third, should have or follow a simple system. Use Google Sheets, Google Keep. It's free. And number 4, cash flow is the lifeblood of business. When all money, cash is coming in, my suggestion is 30% of that should be set aside for land, building, and equipment. So you can avoid paying rent. That's a major cost area. Okay. Number 5, you already have enough cash flow. Number 5, by the way, this is 6 key areas. We're on the 5th. Marketing is the rudder. What is a rudder? R-U-D-D-E-R. All right. How do big ship or boats steer? How do they move from left to right? Behind it is a rudder. Okay. If you tilt the rudder to the left, the boat will move to the right. If you tilt the rudder to the right, your boat will move to the left. Marketing is the rudder. Sales is just a figure, numbers, how many units sold, how many set sold, target reach, that's sales. Marketing is the rudder. Marketing is the emotion of things. Okay? Always remember this. You may have a very good product, but if you don't market it with emotion, you will have a hard time marketing it. That's why, since it is an emotion, you have to display, you have to raise awareness. What do I mean by that? You have to be an extrovert. You have to expose yourself, being the CEO, being the manager, being the head. There is no such thing as marketing for introverts. When you say market, you appeal to the emotion of the market. When you appeal to the emotion of the market, you have to be seen, you have to be heard. Meaning, in modern times now, we use Facebook. We have to be online. Okay? You tell me, how can you raise awareness if you are not seen? That's why we have advertising budget. So people will see what you are selling. People will see your service. People will see the product that you are offering. Marketing is an emotion. You do not convince people by saying that your product is this good, that your product is 30% stronger, that your service is 50% faster, that your whatever. You appeal to their emotions. Just like car advertisements. Car manufacturers appeal to the emotion of parents that their car is safe, meaning the little kids will not suffer any bad accident when they ride into that certain car. I have a sports car. What appeals to me when they marketed it is the heritage, the lineage, that people have been using that sports car for so long, since 20, 30 years ago, that when I ride this sports car, I would look like and I would feel like somebody famous. That's the emotional appeal. And they got me. Okay? So marketing is the rudder. It will guide your business where to go. You have to be aware, you have to be vocal. If you are the shy type, be a JCI member so that you will develop your communication skill, leadership skill. That is where JCI is good at. I am a product of JCI, a CLT, if you will. That was the program before, Certified Local Trainer. I can talk to 1 million people without flinching because I have the confidence that JCI taught me and exposed me. Marketing appeals to emotion. You have to be good at communication. Okay? Students starting the business, 109 participants. If you do not have the confidence, the leadership skill, now is the time for you to enhance and practice that. Successful people are confident people, my friends. You can never see a successful people sitting at the back, right? Is there a captain sitting at the kitchen? No. Where do you find the ship's captain? He is at the bridge commanding the ship. It's not the chief mate. It's not the marine engineer. The marine engineer is below deck, manning the engine. But the captain is shouting orders. Full speed ahead, reverse thrust, 20 knots, 5 knots. You have to be visible for you to effectively market your product. So marketing is the rudder. Again, let me go to the last, the sixth. Number one, what did I say? Know your niche. Number two, forge your team. Not create the team, forge your team. Number three, create a simple system that your team can use and understand. There is no logic in using a complicated system that your team will have a hard time to use. Okay? Number four, cash flow is the lifeblood. Do not give out. Make sure that your profit is properly computed. Save 30% for expansion, purchase of land, building, construction, or upgrade of equipment. Okay? Number five, marketing is the rudder. Appeal to the emotion of your clients. That is number five. And number six, the last key area, mentoring is the best hack. I learned it late. I'm 51 years old. Had somebody mentored me when I was 20, I could have been a billionaire by 30. But nobody mentored me. So I went into so many bankruptcy. I had a hard time bouncing checks. The whole 9 yards of problems in business because nobody mentored me. That's why it has been my passion to share what I knew, to share my knowledge, so that people who are listening, people who have a good sense, will avoid the mistakes that I did. Because the shortcut is mentoring. Find a good mentor. People who are successful. Now, let me get this straight. I am talking to entrepreneurs, right? Or would-be entrepreneurs. I'm not talking to people who would like to live a simple life in the farm, in the cave. I have no problem with that. You go ahead. If you want to live like an hermit, go. But my audience are people who would like to dream big, hairy, audacious goal. If you are not that type of person, I'm sorry, we are not on the same wavelength. But I respect you. Okay? I have that vision when I was younger. I hated poverty. I hated hard life because I've been through that. I would line for promissory notes during my high school and college years in order to get the exam. And I cannot understand way back, why do I have to line up for promissory notes when all of my classmates are sitting pretty inside the classroom? What makes them different? Why don't I have that luxury? But I was not mad. I analyzed it. Oh, because of lack of resources, lack of financials. So I made it a point that someday, when I grow old, I will avoid that and stop that problem right on the track. And I did. But it could have been faster. It could have been better only if I had a mentor. Okay? So look for somebody nearby that you can talk with, that you can ask for advice. Maybe you can exchange services and learn from what they're doing, from the techniques. I did that. By the way, let me get you back to the story. The people that ordered me those potash alum, the people that ordered from me those harvesting pole, were all my mentors. Why? because they were 30 years older than me. They were around 50 or 60 years old way back when I was only around 30, 37. Okay? So those were my mentors, and at the same time, they provided business for me. Now, that is a very simple secret. Go with successful people. Again, I'm talking to business-minded people. Go with successful people. Find out what they want, what they need. Research it on your own. Be good at it. Then supply it. You already have a mentor. Then you also have a good business. Okay? Find a mentor. You've heard of Michelangelo. You've heard of Leonardo da Vinci. These are Renaissance artists, world famous, renowned, that even if their work still exists, their artwork is into the millions. Actually, you cannot price what they're doing, what their pieces of art. Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, let me tell you guys, they also had mentors. They did not become the artists that they are known without mentors. You see, they have the skill, they have the talent, but it took them years of mentorship to excel and be good at their craft. Get a mentor. In Germany, you need to be an apprentice for at least 3 years in order for you to work at BMW, Mercedes-Benz. All these engineering firms have apprenticeship program 3 years. So when this apprentice graduates, they can be in the production line because of the skill that they learn. Okay? If you want to build and sustain great business, find a mentor. Mentor will make things easier so that you will avoid big time mistakes like I did. Okay? Let me sum it all up. 6 key areas. How to build and sustain a business. Number 1, make sure you have a good product niche, service niche, whatever that is. If everybody else is selling that, if everyone, Tom, Dick, and Harry, Ida, Lorna, and Fe is selling, doing that, avoid it like a plague. You will die of competition if you do that. Find a niche. Number 2, forge your team. You do not create a team. You create and forge before you expand. Number 3, create a simple system. Number 4, cash flow is the lifeblood. Number 5, marketing is the rudder, emotional marketing. And number 6, mentoring is the best hack. Find a mentor to avoid big problems in your endeavor. Okay? Let me conclude it this way. When you start a business, do not rush. You have all the time. Remember, 2010, that was 10 years ago, when I found a good product niche. But I spent more than 30 years making mistakes. Okay? That is the worst experience that you may hear. Now that I've told you, do not rush. Make sure that you have good plans. Make sure that you assess things so that you will avoid mistakes. Okay? Lastly, always follow successful people. Do not follow people at the opposite end, because you will end up at the opposite end. All right? Tell me who your friends are, and I will tell you who you are. If you go with 5 broke people, you will end up the 6th. Okay? That ends my how to build and sustain a business.